It is a national park in the state of Madhya Pradesh, famous for its forest beauty. This time it is a trip where not only the beauty of the forest but also the tigers and other animals and birds are explained. So let's start the journey. Let me give a brief introduction. We have taken the flight from Cochin to Nagpur and we are going back to the Kanha Tiger Reserve in a taxi after reaching Nagpur. We have already booked a package that covers the stay and safari, and we are moving through a unique bridge as it is built over the forest which would avoid injuries caused to the wildlife while they cross the road. And since it's over the forest, it doesn't affect the free moving of the wildlife and there's no restriction for the vehicles at night. So, we have reached the resort and had lunch. By 2:30, we are all ready for the safari and the safari jeep had also come. I was wondered when I reached the safari point. All these jeeps are for taking the travelers for safari. Safaris in the central India are no way similar to the safaris in South India. The evening safari is from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. I think it's a custom to wash the tires before the journey that all the safari jeeps go through this water. I will explain the basic details about the safari now, or else it'll be a confusion if I don't explain the details in the beginning itself. So here it's not just the government-operated safari vehicles as we see in Nagarhole and Bandipur, but there are about 100 private vehicles that are operated, which are modified into safari vehicles. And another feature is that these vehicles cannot go anywhere as they wish. But the whole safari in the Kanha Tiger Reserve is divided into 4 zones, and a fixed number of vehicles are permitted in each zone. For example, the vehicles which are booked to Mukhi zone are not allowed to enter the Kisli zone. Though the number of vehicles are controlled, it's a kind of commercial tourism. And deer are our first sightings of this journey. And we can hear alarm calls and it can be a fake call as other deers are not alert. They often give alarm calls when they spot tigers or leopards, but as they're grazing in the fields, they may misunderstand deer as tigers and they make alarm calls. We can infer if there are tigers or leopards by observing the deer. Though we spotted only a few in the beginning, we saw many as the time passed and they're coming to drink water. Our safari today is in the Kanha zone, and this zone is the territory of a female tiger named Neelam. Deer are observing something closely and leaving. It's nothing else but the wild cows are on their way to drink water. It's a group of 10 to 15. Though the wild buffaloes are spotted in the forest of central India, wild cows are mostly spotted over here. That is a huge muscular one, just like the one in Bahubali. And near the wild cows, there are 5 to 6 lesser whistling ducks. They are spotted mostly near the ponds in the forest and less populated areas, and they are also spotted in some regions of South India. As we moved forward, we spotted a golden jackal. They are largely seen in this Kanha Tiger Reserve. Though they are seen in other regions, the chances to sight them during the safaris are very rare. But they are seen in small forests, and this creature usually prey on domestic chicken in our area. They don't attack human, but they run away as they feel the human presence. In Kabani or Bandipur, the safaris are organized by the government or through the JLR. But here the safaris are conducted by private parties. Most resorts have their own private safari jeeps, and there are people who rent jeeps for these resorts. And it is better to take packages which include stay and safari as it is commercial kind of tourism and we get packages in a cheap rate as there are many competitors. That's a white-rumped vulture which is eating the decayed leftover carcass which had already been eaten by some other animals. This is endangered variety of vultures and they are also seen in the Wayanad forest regions. And that's a Barasingha deer, which are not seen in our region. These are so spectacular to see in the dusk sun rays. They are bigger than the chital, but smaller than the sambar deer. Some Barasinghas have white spots on their body. Our evening safari is for 3 hours, that is from 3 pm to 6 pm, and it's almost 5, and we still have enough light to spot animals. As we moved forward, we saw a tiger in the grassland. It's a kid. We couldn't sight him so clearly as the grown grass blocked our sight. There are chances to spot the mother tiger, as we have spotted the kid. And this is the territory of the female tiger Neelam, which is a famous tiger in the Kanha region. This female tiger has 3 kids. Neelam is often spotted in this vast grassland, and all the vehicles are waiting here as they heard the tiger sighting. And our waiting was over. Here comes the Neelam also, known as the T65. But see her face, there is a fresh scar. We're not certain about the cause, as it can be caused during the territory fight or during preying. We could see her closely as she passed near our vehicles. She was along with her 3 cubs. And you may think why the forest department is not caring or treating this tigress, though it's wounded. My accompanies during the journey were Manjunath and Mauli, and Manjunath had taken the picture of this tigress and sent it to the forest officials, and the very next day they had come to sedate this tigress and given her the treatment. 2 weeks later, there was an update on Instagram stating her recovery and the heal. So when we are booking safari packages in the central India, it is better to book as a group of 4, and the total expense of this package for an individual was 25,000, which included 3 days stay, 6 safaris, food and airport pickup. Though there are many zones, Mukhi zone has the most chances to sight the animals. And we need to book 2 to 3 months prior to get the Mukhi or Sarhi. I have gone with the package offered by the Taal Retreat Resort. I have given the contact details in the description box as well. Another thing to mention is that there are no elephants in this forest. There have been elephants in all the forest we have been, but I was surprised that there are no elephants in this forest with lots of grass, plants and good greenery. That's an Indian roller. They are the state bird for Karnataka, and we have spotted a lot of them on many parts of this Kanha forest. There were 2 of them together. We could spot them during our Kabani trip as well. There is another bird in the dried grass, and that's an Indian thick-knee. Though we have spotted only 1 in the beginning, but there had been 3 of them. That's the voice of an Indian thick-knee. They are commonly spotted near the ponds and wetlands, but today we have spotted them in a complete dried area. There are 2 varieties of them. This India thick-knee, they are mostly seen in the rocky and grasslands, and the other variety is the water thick-knee, which is seen in the wetlands of our region. Our safari time is getting over and the sun is about to set. There are 2 wild cows staying near the pond, and both of them were male. There are a lot of tiger reserves which have enough chances for unlimited animal sightings. Let's see tiger reserves like Tadoba, Jim Corbett, Gir National Park, which could see lions as different episodes. That's evening sun rays filtering out and glowing like gold, as it's a dusty summer evening, and this safari is coming to an end as we're going back to the resort. This is the place where we stayed last night. It's not that luxurious, but it's a good one. We are here for the morning safari, and the safari begins by 6 a.m. Our driver and jeep were here by 5:30. The morning safari is for 5 hours. We can spend time in the forest from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. and that's a great advantage. By seeing the light here, we may assume it's already 7, but it's just 5:45. I have already mentioned that most of the safari vehicles are operated by private parties, and it will be a danger if the forest department doesn't know our route and direction. So as soon as the vehicle starts from the gate, the guide also enters the vehicle and he has a GPS device with him that will save all our directions and activities in the forests. Our first sighting is some wild cows, and they are fighting in the very morning, but it doesn't seem to be a serious fight as both male and females are involved, and it's good to see them having short fights. The process of shifting some wild cows to another forest was happening here on the day we arrived. The government makes sure that there are enough wild cows in the tiger reserve as the tiger preys on wild cows the most. And if the number of wild cows are getting low in a certain tiger reserve, the government shifts the wild cows to that certain tiger reserve to manage the number. And protecting tiger is a big process. In order to have a safe environment for the tigers, it should have enough wild cows and the deer to prey on. And to have enough wild cows and deer, there should be enough grass for them to eat. And to have grassland, there should be enough water in the forest. There should not be much big trees, so there should be arrangements to maintain the grasslands. And overall, it's a big initiative from the part of the government to protect the tigers. That's a brown-wood owl. They're mostly spotted in the early mornings. These birds are so trouble-free that even small birds would chase them away, especially in the daytime, because these owls only know what they have done in the last night. They're notorious among the birds. They attack the nests of other birds and it preys on the eggs and the nestlings. They even attack the other birds and they behave so innocent in the morning. That's why the birds chase these owls in the daytime. I have already said that among the 4 zones in Kanha forest, the most chances for animal sightings is Mukki. And it's better to book Sargi zone if you couldn't book the Mukki zone. And the major attraction in the Sargi zone is 2 male tigers and it is rare to spot them. But if you're lucky enough, you can spot them. And the beauty of the forest is so spectacular in Sargi. And we need to take the safari in the Kanha zone, as there is Neelam in the Kanha. There are signs of recent forest fire over here, but there are chances that the forest department itself would have set fire to maintain the dry grasses. And enough grass is necessary for the herbivores to live. And there are some Barasingha and Chittals over here. It is already said that the tigers mainly prey on wild cows. It is not because the deer meat is tasty enough, but it is very much difficult to catch them as they run too fast. Tigers are too lazy to run behind the prey, but they hide in the grass and jump on the prey when they approach them. While you are preparing to book the safari, remember that this tiger reserve is closed from July to the mid of October. It's not just the matter of this tiger reserve alone, but most tiger reserves in central India will be closed during the rainy season. And the safari begins by October after the rain, and evening safari will begin by 2:30 in the afternoon from October to February, as the sunset time is different during those times. From April to June, the evening safaris begin at 3:30 and it will be till 6:30 p.m. And as we moved forward, we spotted a golden jackal again. Usually, people misunderstand them as fox, wild dog, etc. But it is a jackal, and fox and wild dogs are different. Foxes are smaller in size compared to the jackals. Again, we have reached the spot where we had tiger sightings yesterday. It is actually an open grassland, and it is so beautiful to see this area in the morning. There will be vehicles over here always expecting the tiger sightings. 40 vehicles are permitted in the Kanha zone. Most number of vehicles are permitted in the Kanha and Mukki zones, and just 18 vehicles are permitted in the Kisli zone. And we have waited for almost 15 minutes, and our waiting was worth. There is the Neelam. Though she is locally called as Neelam, her official name is T65. Every tiger has a number, and we could distinguish them by seeing the stripes on their body. We couldn't see the scar because it is on the other side of her face. And I've already said that this tigress was sedated for the treatment when the safari vehicles are gone. Usually, the officials transport the tigers to some other place to treat them under observation if the wounds are big enough. They haven't shifted Neelam to another facility since she has 3 cubs. The skin is shining in the sunlight, and the beauty of these tigers are never fading. Just look at the royal walk. We had a safari in the first week of June, and that is the peak of summer, and the rainy season starts by July. I expected a deep, dried forest, but it wasn't like that. There had been greenery and water here and there. Kanha Tiger Reserve is the biggest national park in Madhya Pradesh. It spans a total area of 940 square kilometers. As per the census of 2018, there are a total of 80 tigers over here. This Kanha Tiger Reserve is one among the 11 forests which was declared as tiger reserves in 1978, and there are 54 tiger reserves in India, and Madhya Pradesh has the most number of tiger reserves with a total of 6 tiger reserves. Among the 6 tiger reserves, Kanha National Park has the most number of tigers. This river actually floods in the rainy season, and we have to plan another safari in the monsoon to see that. Though we had enough Barsingha and Chital sightings, we could spot sambar deer a little during this safari. We spotted them only twice, a group of 2 or 3 just like this. It is already said that the morning safari is for 5 hours, and we can take a break in between as we may get tired, and this doesn't have any particular timing. We can take the break as we wish. So we are heading back to the resting point. In every zone, there will be places for food and washroom. We have stopped our vehicle by 9 for the breakfast, and the breakfast was taken from the resort in a box. So as I mentioned, these are my friends Mauli and Manjunath. And it is better to take the package as a group of 4 as each jeep carries 4 tourists. There's an ark in the resting point. It really admired when I realized this ark was made using the deer horns collected from the same forest. Male deer shed their horns occasionally, and the officials had collected those horns and made this wonder. We spent a little more time in the forest after the breakfast. Though the safari is till 11, the longing and interest would last only for the first 2 days. And all will be in the mood to leave the forest by 10, as the sightings are less and common during this time. I told you that I have taken the package for 3 days, but I don't think that the remaining sightings will come as another episode. This is the total sightings of this whole safari. But we are happy with the tiger sightings, and this is all about the forest story. And this time, if you have any doubts about the safari and package, you can text me on Instagram, and I have also provided the details in the description box as well. So let's meet once again with another interesting episode. Bye bye.